59 entries in the special and production vehicle categories. Highlights of the Carnival City when the region was turned into a quagmire by torrential rain. This year's Carnival City Casino 400 was destined to be a hot, dry and dusty affair. The Kuppel Club had laid out a tough route between Brakpan and Heidelberg, which incorporated sections of the Sekerbosrand, and crews would be required to complete a 37-kilometre prologue on Friday and 3 tortuous 137-kilometre loops on Saturday. As per last year, the Production Vehicle Championship would be decided on the final event, with 2 crews sharing the joint lead and 1 in with an outside chance. Neil Woolridge and Kenny Scholthammer hadn't won a race all year, but their consistency in the Ford had earned them enough points to share the lead.
I've been racing for many, many years, and this is one of the tensest I've ever felt. I don't know why, but they say with time it gets better, but I don't know, it seems to be getting worse. But yeah, it is quite a tense time. But in reality, we've got to come third. If the Nissan wins, we've got to finish third, and then we've wrapped up the class championship. The overall championship, there's not a hell of a lot we can do in our position. You know, about controlling it, that is, because we need some of the other Class D contenders to get in there and beat the Nissan. So we've got to concentrate on our class championship. That's what's important to us and important to Ford, and the rest will hopefully just fall into the bag.
Duncan Foss and Mike Griffith had steadily gone about amassing as many points throughout the season and were also in line to win the coveted championship for Nissan.
The only thing in our favour is that if we end this event equal on points, we've had more class wins or wins overall than he has. So that's a slight point in our favour, but we just got to hope that Janelle and Hannes have a good run, and they rob the Ford of points, and then we've also obviously got to do well and make sure that we can score enough points to just pip him.
3 wins and 2 seconds had moved veterans Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek into contention for the overall and Class T titles.
Well, we basically have to win the race. If the Ford's going to finish, I'm sure he's going to finish strongly. So we'll have to try and win the race. Janelle or I become second, and the other one third, and the Ford fourth. Then we can win it by 1 point. It's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible. So we're going to definitely go for it.
The Special Vehicle Championship was also delicately poised, with 1 of 3 crews in with a chance for the overall title. Harvey and Stone had been super consistent and finished all previous events. Victory would give Harvey his 3rd national title and Stone his 2nd. But their biggest threat was Greg Dowse, who had appealed against an MSA decision to strip him of his class points in 2 events due to there being insufficient starters.
If we get the points that we're entitled to, we'll be 5 points ahead of Greg Harvey and actually leading the overall championship. So we do have a certain margin, but we've never raced with the intention to hold back or to use up the margin that we've got. We race and we race to win, and I think we've proved that the whole year. And we'd like to carry on with that success.
The 37-kilometre prologue to determine starting positions for the main event included a 5-kilometre man-made section within the Carnival City Casino complex. Brothers Geert and Loans du Plessis set the pace in the mobile Jimco and were 3 seconds faster than John Weir-Smith and Jeff Minnett in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco, which ran most of the distance without brakes. This was the 2nd time this season that special vehicles had dominated the prologue. 3rd fastest and the 1st production vehicle was the Nissan hardbody of Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek, who were 15 seconds faster than R.P. Reinecker and Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. The multiple former champions won the season opening Barbaspan 500, but have not fared too well since. 5th fastest were last year's Carnival City Casino 400 winners, Woolridge and Scholthammer in the Ford Racing Ranger. While the pair had finished 2nd on 5 occasions this season, victory had eluded them. 6th were father and son Bodo and Gary Berthold, who had done much development work on the locally designed and built CommuterNet Bat. The Nissan V6 powered vehicle was a contender for victory. Brandon Harkus, one of the developers of the bat and track racing star Regardt Roots, were 7 seconds slower than the Bertholts in the Hyperoptics bat. The scene was set for a nail-biting battle between the rival bat crews. The revolutionary Roger Taylor-designed Toyota Hilux, with former Bankford touring car star Anthony Taylor at the wheel, had proven to be quick but unreliable in its debut season. The Lexus V8-powered machine would start 8th. Reigning production vehicle champions Carnival City and Francois Jourdan set the 9th fastest time in the Nissan hardbody. They got lost twice in the prologue and ended up 1 minute and 14 seconds behind Krobler and Leek. Production Vehicle Championship co-leaders Duncan Foss and Mike Griffith were the first of the Class D qualifiers and rounded out the top 10 in the Nissan hardbody. Class S champion Greg Dowse and Archie Rutherford were the fastest Class S qualifiers in the Nashua Mobile Race Co., while Class B newcomer Francois Smith outqualified the rest of the Class B field. Class E Championship contenders Hugo and Jaap de Bruin in the Toyota Hilux were the leading qualifiers in the class, while the Class F honours went to Wynand Brits and Roy Clark in the SVM. Just over 2 minutes separated the top 10 with special vehicles dominating, but the real battle would be between Ford, Nissan and Toyota for the production vehicle honours.
Ons maar net altyd is 'n prys om elke draai. So, laat maar net geniet.
Being third overall and first in production, we must go for it. We must go for an overall win. To get a space between us and the Ford, we need the Ford to finish 4th, us to finish 1st, so that we can win Class T, the super truck class. And as far as an overall championship win, there is an outside chance if we have a clean run and win, and the Ford has problems and drops back, and of course our teammate Duncan has problems and drops back, then we can take the overall championship.
Brought to you by a start to the day and not a hint of rain. Dust would be a major problem for crews, and poor visibility, especially in the opening stages of the race, would be a factor. As always, there were the last-minute preparations and informal chatter before the start of what promised to be a tough event. The 79 crews came under starters' orders at 8 o'clock, with Carnival City's Rod Walker flagging the field away. The Duplessis brothers had a huge advantage. Being first on the road meant a dust-free run. But Weir, Smith and Minute had other intentions and were hell-bent on getting to the front. Krobler and Leek were the first of the production vehicle brigade and immediately set off in pursuit of the leading special vehicles. The Nissan hardbodies had won 6 of the 7 events run to date, with Krobler and Leek and de Villiers and Jourdan each having won 3 events. Reineke and Harton had had a frustrating season in the new Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, but their perseverance and ongoing development of the vehicle was starting to pay dividends. Production Vehicle Championship co-leaders Woolrich and Schalthammer were in a confident frame of mind before the start and hoping for a repeat of their 2001 Carnival City Casino 400 win. The Bertholts started a mere 2 seconds behind the Ford and were already looking for a way past, but the Ford's four-wheel drive was an advantage in the slippery conditions. You're on board in the Ford Ranger. Enjoy the ride across the chessboard section. Brandon Harkus and Regardt Roots were next up in the bat, followed by Anthony Taylor and Henny Tersteger in the Class T Toyota Hilux, which had suffered from reliability problems. With Carnival City and Francois Jourdan out of contention in the championship, their task has been to test development parts for the Nissan hardbodies being built in South Africa to contest the 2003 Dakar. De Villiers will have the honour of driving one of the works Nissans in the legendary event. Foss and Griffith had already clinched the Class D championship in the Nissan hardbody, and their main objective was to win the Production Vehicle Championship in only their second full year of off-road competition. They found the going a little slippery in the arena section. This off cost them some time and allowed Class S champion Greg Dawes and Archie Rutherford to nip by in the Nashua Mobile Race Co. The Vormeranstad-based Duplessis brothers had matters well under control and had opened up a healthy gap on the rest of the field. Weir Smith and Minute won the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 and the Queen Motor Spares Tarka 400 and were aiming for their third win of the season. The choking dust did not help matters for the chasing crews, especially Grobler and Leek, who wanted the overall lead badly, and to put as much distance between themselves and the championship-leading Ford Ranger. On board the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, Reineke and Houghton maintained a steady pace and were fourth overall and second in the production vehicle category as they headed south towards Heidelberg. The dust on certain sections of the route was appalling, and conditions were not conducive to maintaining a fast pace. The view from the cockpit of the Ford Ranger says it all. Brandon Harkus and Reghard Roots managed to get by backed teammates Gary and Bodo Berthold and were third overall in the special vehicle category. Father Bodo started off-road racing in 1971 and has won numerous championships. The Lexus V8-powered Toyota Hilux of Anthony Taylor and Henny de Stecher was having a faultless run, but had Genil de Villiers and Francois Jordan in the Nissan hardbody in close pursuit. They in turn were being chased hard by Nashua Mobile racing pair Greg Dawes and Archie Rutherford in the 2-litre powered Race Co. Dawes' teammates Terence Marsh and Trevor Eyre had a bit of a wild ride over this jump. Foss and Griffith had dropped 2 positions, but still had a good lead in Class D, while Gareth Walk led Class B in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team entry. Another wild ride, this time Rob Gurney and Reg Sutton. The De Bruyn father and son seemed to have no match in Class E in the early stage of the race. You're on board the Ford Racing Ranger of Woolwich and Scholthammer as they closed the gap on Reineke and Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser.
Right, yeah. Get out, bud. Get out. Quickly. Quickly, Neil. Yeah. Quickly. Quickly, Neil. Quickly, Neil. Pull the door. Get the other side. What happened?
A lucky escape.
I don't know, I had a funny feeling. Well, I had a funny feeling when I looked back. Last night I couldn't sleep at all. I don't know why. And normally I'm a bit worked up before the race. As I said to you before the race, I was very worked up before this race. And yeah, it was a championship. It wasn't that bad, but maybe I sort of knew something was going to happen, I don't know. But yeah, that's racing, I guess. That's what happens. You've got to take the good with the bad. We got right up. We were right behind Arpie, and we weren't going mad. I think we had a good chance to win the race. The car felt very good, and just something broke on the car, and that was it. We rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled. I wondered if we were ever going to stop rolling. So fortunately, it's the end of the year. Fortunately, we at the last minute had to pull out of going to the Paris-Dakar Rally because clearly we wouldn't have been going anyway. So. Yeah, they say things happen for reasons. So.
Is this salvageable?
Things always look worse than they are. I think, if I look at it at the moment, it looks pretty finished, but it's very strong. I think if you look at the two of us and the speed we were going, we were in 4th gear flat out, and there's nothing really wrong with us. We've got a little stiff in that, so I think the car's very, very strong, so hopefully we can fix it, yeah.
What whacked you in the face?
We're not sure. I don't know. Maybe it was the drive shaft when it's broken there. It's hit the window and maybe all the control armors. But no, you can see how strong this car is.
A disappointing end to the season, but a godsend that the crews survived the carnage. They weren't the only crew to roll. Father and son, Johan and Rian Gerber, fell victim to this ditch.
We came down the road. We didn't see the caution. We saw it too late. Then we went off the road. We braked, went off the road. We came into the ditch here. We landed on our front. As you can see, the bull bar off here. We went over with the backside over the front. The first time we landed was on the back. As you can see on the back, the spare wheels there and everything bent up. Then I remember landing on the roof once, and when the crash went over, we were on our wheels again. So I think we went over 2 times.
Sarel van der Merwe's off-road swan song also came to an abrupt halt.
Well, I was clever enough. I thought we could run with 1 spare wheel, and now we've had 2 flat wheels, and that's it. We have to get out wheels from outside, which automatically excludes us. So it's been a nice run up to here, but that's it.
Yes.